17-year-old Ethan Carter sat on the edge of the back porch, arms wrapped tightly around his knees, staring at the horizon. The world looked the same, trees swaying in the wind, clouds lazily drifting across the sky, but Ethan knew better. His world had ended 7 days ago. It had been a rainy night. His dad and older brother, Jason, were returning from a high school football game, their usual bonding tradition. A drunk driver speeding through a red light collided head-on with their truck. Neither survived. Ethan still remembered the knock on the door, the officer's hat in his hands, his mother collapsing to the floor. Life didn't slow down after that. It just became colder. The once warm, laughter-filled house was now haunted by unspoken grief. His mom spent hours staring at nothing, silently folding laundry that no one wore. Food spoiled in the fridge, bills stacked on the counter. Ethan took on a part-time job at a local diner to help, but it didn't fill the hollow ache inside. He used to be a star student, an athlete. Now he barely made it to class. Teachers showed sympathy, but none of it could bring his dad or brother back. The pain was relentless, echoing in every corner of the home. He missed his dad's deep laugh, the way Jason tossed him a football every afternoon. Now there was only silence. It was a Wednesday afternoon, and the sky was once again threatening rain. Ethan was walking home after a double shift, his shoes soaked, his clothes clinging to his tired frame. The weight of grief and exhaustion pressed down on him like wet cement. As he passed an old country road, something caught his eye. A car pulled to the side, hazard lights blinking. An elderly man in a long coat stood next to it, frowning at a completely flat tire. Cars passed by, splashing muddy water, no one stopping. Ethan paused. He could have kept walking. He was drenched, exhausted, and emotionally drained, but something inside stirred a memory. His father had once stopped to help a stranger in a snowstorm, saying, "Son, you never pass by someone in need. One day it might be you." Ethan turned back. "Need a hand, sir?" he asked, kneeling before he got a reply. The man blinked, surprised. I'd appreciate that, young man. These old bones aren't what they used to be." Despite the cold rain and his aching muscles, Ethan worked quickly. He changed the tire, tightening the bolts with precision. When he stood up, the man offered him a few dollars from his wallet. Ethan shook his head. "No, thank you. My dad would have wanted me to help." The man looked at him, studying his face. "Then your father raised a good man. What's your name?" "Ethan Carter," he replied, wiping his hands. "I'm Harold Bennett. Thank you, Ethan." With a final nod, Harold drove away. Ethan didn't think much of it. He simply kept walking home, unaware that one small act of kindness had just set something powerful in motion. 3 days later, Ethan opened the mailbox expecting bills and more college rejection letters, but instead there was a cream-colored envelope with elegant handwriting to Ethan Carter. Inside, a letter read, "Kindness doesn't go unnoticed. Come to this address tomorrow at 10 a.m. Trust me, it's worth your time. Harold Bennett." Ethan's first instinct was suspicion, but curiosity won. He borrowed his mom's old bike and pedaled across town. The address led him to a small brick building nestled between a park and a school. A sign above the door read, "The Bennett Foundation for Hope, Healing, and the Future." Inside, Harold greeted him with a smile and open arms. The building was a nonprofit organization that offered scholarships, grief counseling, and mentorship programs for young people who had suffered loss. "I started this after losing my own son to cancer," Harold explained. "He was your age, bright, kind, full of dreams. Watching you help me in the rain, it felt like he was standing right beside me again." Ethan didn't know what to say. Harold continued, "Let me help you. Let us help you. This place exists for people like you, who have been knocked down but still choose kindness." For the first time in weeks, Ethan felt warmth in his chest. Not happiness exactly, but something close, something like hope. With Harold's support, Ethan's life began to shift. The foundation paid for his therapy sessions. They helped him re-enroll in school and even secured him a part-time job at the center, helping organize food drives and mentorship programs. He met other teens who had lost siblings, parents, even entire families. Slowly, through shared grief, laughter, and tears, Ethan healed. He started speaking during the group sessions, telling his story, first with shaky words, then with strength. He began to understand that his pain wasn't meant to be buried, it was meant to be transformed. Harold became like a second father, attending Ethan's high school graduation, cheering louder than anyone. "You made it, son," he said, voice trembling with pride. Ethan studied social work in college with a full scholarship from the foundation. He interned during the summers, traveling to schools and shelters, telling others, "I know what it's like to lose everything, but you don't have to stay lost." By the time he was 25, Ethan returned to the Bennett Foundation, not as a recipient, but as a program director. He was now mentoring boys just like he used to be, grieving, angry, alone, and he told each of them what Harold had once told him: "You are not your pain. You are what you do with it." Years later, Ethan stood before a crowd at the Bennett Foundation's annual fundraiser. The hall was packed with supporters, families, and kids whose lives had been changed by the organization. Ethan took a deep breath and stepped up to the microphone. Behind him were slides of his journey from the rain-soaked road to the university graduation photo. "My name is Ethan Carter," he began, his voice steady but thick with emotion. "When I was 17, I lost my father and brother in a single night. I thought I'd lost my future too. I nearly gave up. But then, one act of kindness, a flat tire, a stranger, and a choice to help changed everything." He paused, locking eyes with a young boy sitting in the front row, small, quiet, and clearly holding back tears. Ethan saw himself in that boy. "This foundation didn't just give me money, it gave me purpose. It reminded me that grief can break you, but it can also build you into someone stronger." He smiled through watery eyes. "My father and brother taught me how to live with love. Harold taught me how to live with loss, and now I'm here to pass that gift to the next generation." The audience erupted in applause, but Ethan's eyes stayed on the boy in the front. After the event, the boy approached him. "Mr. Carter, my dad died 2 months ago. I haven't told anyone." Ethan knelt and looked into his eyes. "You're not alone. You never were, and I'm here to walk this road with you." That night, Ethan stood outside the center, gazing up at the stars. He still missed his dad, he still missed Jason, but he also knew they lived on in the work he did, in the lives he changed. Final message: sometimes the worst day of your life becomes the first step toward your greatest calling. Grief doesn't define us, what we do with it does, and when you choose kindness, even in your darkest moments, the world finds a way to bring the light back to you. Ethan Carter's story reminds us that even in the face of unimaginable loss, the human spirit has the power to rise, not just to survive, but to transform pain into purpose. His journey, from a grieving teenager sitting alone in silence to a beacon of hope for others, shows that a single act of kindness can ripple through time, changing not just one life, but many. When Ethan chose to help a stranger on a rainy road, he unknowingly opened the door to healing for himself and countless others. In a world that often feels cold and indifferent, this story reminds us that compassion is not weakness, it is strength. And that in our lowest moments, we still have the power to lift someone else up. Grief is a wound, but kindness is the balm. Ethan didn't let his losses define him. He chose to live in a way that honored those he had lost, by becoming a guiding light for others in the dark. His story is a testament to the idea that we can all be that light, no matter what we've been through. So if you're going through something hard, keep going. You never know when your story might become someone else's reason to hope.